Hey everybody, Ingenious Baboon here. I'm going to be talking to you about the warm-ups I usually do when I'm teaching people how to draw. These warm-ups are good for beginners and advanced people, for everybody, all ages, all skill levels. The advanced can do variations of those games that are a little bit more advanced. Right now I'm going to explain only the starting point in each game. But in my opinion, these three games are very good to start with if you feel like you want to draw but don't know where to start and how to start with or what to draw. You can start with these games, and maybe once you're done you will feel like you have way more ideas and way more capability of drawing without feeling frustrated. Alright, so game number one is about posture. Because first when you start, first thing you need to check is your posture, that you have a straight back, you don't have a tense back, that your neck is not leaning too much forward, and of course throughout the process you need to keep checking on your posture. So the first game is called Chosen Line. In this game what you need to do is put a dot around the middle of your paper. Okay, it's not too visible now, but I guess you will see more once if I make it look bigger maybe. And then all you need to do is the hand that you're not holding the pen with or pencil, you put it on the paper. Imagine this was a table, not like here in my case. And what you need to do is make a line that goes from that point towards your center. What you do is you try to maintain your elbow close to your rib cage, and you try to draw from your wrist, not from your fingers. We have a tendency to use the fingers because we learn to write very early on, before we learn to master drawing, which gives us this reflex of hyper controlling the pencil for doing the small strokes you need to do when you're doing letters, which are basically very small drawings. If you want to counter that reflex, you have to expand on the whole paper. This is a perfect exercise to start with. It teaches you how to have good posture and how to draw efficiently without getting tired. So you do that first line, and then you keep doing that same line, but each time you do that line with the second hand, you rotate the paper just a little bit, which will maybe make it kind of rotated like this, and then you will do the same line again, but it will make it go in a different direction because you have rotated the paper just a little bit. Okay, if I don't rotate the paper, I'm technically doing the same line over and over on top of each other. Okay, so this is the goal of this exercise. Now I'm going to try to give you an example using this. I'm going to move around the canvas, and of course I can explain to you why learning to control the canvas with the other hand is good for you as a sketchbook artist. It's because when you're using a sketchbook, you have that option where you can control your canvas, which will help you to maintain a good posture. But for now you can just practice this and see where it goes. So now I'm gonna just try to do the whole paper, and after that we're gonna talk about the second exercise. For the more advanced or people who want to draw more, you can practice also perspective here. Now you have a 1-point perspective that you can practice drawing stuff and scaling them down all the way to the vanishing point, which is this point in the middle. So game number two is called Ramen Heads. So now in the first game, what did we tackle? The posture, right? We have now good posture, we are relaxed, we are capable of drawing for long periods of time without getting stiff necks or tensed backs, or flaring our elbows too much, which will likely affect us more positively throughout our drawing process. Now, game number two is gonna tackle the mind, when specifically your creativity, your creative mind, because in our daily life we tend to not want to make mistakes, to do everything the right way so that we can go on with our life and finish our day a successful day, which will maybe require us to constantly obsess over not making a mistake. But that mentality that we train in our daily life, which is completely normal and valid if you want to survive in this world, most probably, when we tend to over focus on not making mistakes in our life and constantly do that, our mind will get tired, and we will feel trapped at some point, because the human or most humans like to think outside the box, like to find problems that no one else can find. We don't like simply like to do it. We seek it because we feel like our daily lives don't offer us the solution for all our problems. So I feel like it's good as well to train your mind, not just because you want to become a better artist, to acquire better problem solving skills. So an example about this game. What you start with, by the way, this game called Ramen Head has been developed by my teacher, Zihai Liu, a great teacher that helped me a lot in acquire a lot of drawing skills, helped me a lot with color composition and everything related to concept art and painting. And if you are somebody who's really interested to reach the next level as a concept artist, I really advise you take some lessons from Zihai Liu, my teacher. Now, for the example. What you need to start with is ramen, okay? The ramen, one ramen. You see this? This is one ramen, kind of like if it were floating in a pot full of water. It will be floating kind of like this. So what I'm doing is I'm doing one line without removing my hand. I keep my hand in contact with the paper and I do this one line. Now after I finish this one line, I start finding faces. Now, before I start finding faces and all that, here are the ramens that are not highly encouraged to be done, especially when you're a beginner starting to do this game. Don't be aggressive about it. So don't go like as if you have some issue with the paper or the pencil, or I don't know. Don't let your frustrations out on the ramen. Even though I get it sometimes, it's fun to just scribble. But the problem with this is you will have very little gaps between those blobs that are being created by the ramen, which will make the exercise much more difficult. And also one more thing, when you're on paper, not here on a board, you can also do the same thing we did in Chosen Line, where after each line we rotated the paper a little bit just so we can do another one that goes in that direction. Here we can rotate the paper a little bit just so we can have a face that's going in another direction, which will give us a more interesting ramen heads at the end. So that's it for ramen heads. One more thing I need to explain for the advanced people looking at this. So ramen heads is not just for heads. Actually, you can use it if you're an artist who's working on hands, let's say, and everybody knows how difficult hands are when you're starting to draw. You have to really train yourself to understand how to draw hands in order to be able to draw them from every angle without any issue. So for example, if you're an artist that's in this stage and trying to master drawing hands, you could do ramen hands and do a squiggle where you do this noodle and you then just try to find hands interlaced with each other, or maybe just one hand in this ramen, and you try to find the ligaments of the fingers that are going through this hand all the way down to the forearm. You try to find them in the ramen heads. For example, it doesn't have to just be hands, it could be horses, feet, warriors, paladins, ramen paladins, and I'm gonna just try to find a paladin, whatever you want. So that's the cool thing about this game. And also it could be played in multiplayer. You could do the ramen yourself, give it to your friend, then they try to find whatever they need to find, and you take their ramen and you try to find whatever you want to find. That's also another way. It can be as fun as Pictionary or any other game really, with more drawing than Pictionary. In Pictionary it's more organized. This is a bit more chaotic. But feel free to have fun with all these games and send me messages about it and show me and send me pictures of your ramen heads. I would love to see them. I will post them on my Discord group, which you're all invited to join. The link is somewhere here below or above. Now game number 3 is called Echoing Blob, and it talks about feeling the form. Because here's what's happening when you're drawing. When you're drawing on a 2D medium. This is a piece of paper. Of course it has some depth to it, but that's negligible. The point of this paper is to see what's going on here, and of course not here. No one is going to draw here, right? So if you want to draw here on this medium that is 2-dimensional, the third dimension has to be illustrated like an illusion, right? It has to be like an illusion. Which means what? Which means if I draw something, I have to light it properly. I have to look at it and feel how the lights on it are surrounding it, so that I can feel this thing like I'm holding it in my hands. So basically, feeling the form, echoing blob. How do we approach this game? It's very simple. You start by making a blob. What's a blob? A blob is something that kind of looks like a peanut or an avocado, but this one looks more like a peanut. After you do this blob, what you need to do is feel this blob. Now you're playing Mario Kart. What you're doing is you're on a circuit, and that's your circuit. You just try to follow that shape. Follow it. You know, you can ride the circuit. Keep doing laps on it. And follow this shape. And then what is recommended of you is for you to do 3 vertical lines and 3 horizontal lines that are going to go through the shape, one from the left, one from the right, and one from the middle. And I'm always going to take off from the shape and land back into the shape. If I do a hard landing or a hard takeoff, I fail. It has to always be smooth. My landing into the shape has to always be smooth. Why? Because think about it. Like a basketball has the lines always enveloping it. Have you ever noticed a basketball has those 3 or 4, 6 lines? I don't know how many, enveloping it, right? As long as they envelop it, you feel the volume of this basketball. You feel it perfectly. But let's say I make a surface that seems round like this, and then I make a line that just goes like this over it, and that's my surface. That means, what did I just do now? I now failed to feel this form. And what I'm doing with this line is I'm feeling a way bigger form that exists somewhere that has nothing to do with this form. So you have to be very careful when drawing those lines, and to always feel like this form right now is what I'm following. And if I go out and in of it, it has to be with a smooth takeoff and a smooth landing, always. Okay? Which will end up giving you something like this. Now after you have something like this, all you need to do is, well, this is the first part of the exercise, whichever. If you're a beginner, you can stop here, but if you want to have fun, if you just want to enjoy, you can just add faces. Like you can maybe say, I want to add eyeballs and nose here, mouth here, and start making a face out of this blob. Or if you're more advanced, you could make like a mech or something more that has more details in, or like an environment all engraved in this, like maybe mountain of a blob, or maybe this could become a volcano. Or also if you want to practice light and shadows, you can like designate a light source and say, okay, this is a sun here, and it's gonna hit this surface like this and like this and like this, and I'm gonna say this is where the most light is hitting right here, and then this is where the light is gonna be hitting less. This part right here, for example, is gonna be in the shadow, and I'm gonna like make a shadow. Of course, here with a Sharpie, it's gonna be hard to make a shadow, but I just for the example, you would have like you would start making your shadow. This is like a weaker shadow, this is a stronger shadow, and I'll have to like reinforce it. On paper it's easier to do, of course, with the pencil or with the tools that you like to draw with. You will be able to really understand form from this exercise, which is the goal, which is what sculptors do, which is something that you really need to train every time you draw. It's all about understanding form. It's all about giving that illusion of does this have a third dimension or not? Can I grab this or not? You always have to try to maintain that illusion. In every class, I tell all my students to always do these exercises. They're very important to understand. It's very important to practice this. They are like, as we say in French, catalyseur. They help facilitate the reaction in your brain so that it happens. Because if it doesn't happen, it's just gonna stay there, and then you're gonna feel like you missed out. All right, so that's it for the 3 warm-up games.